Oh, you got it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
UCB, Uncommon Bond Podcast. We had technical difficulties. I got too much shit on my file. So it was hard to try to delete some things, get rid of some things, but we are here now with the good man, Mr. Warner, the boy.
How you doing?
How are things, sir?
Always good.
Always good. We are
Always
here
good.
to talk legacy of a very complex man.
Yes, sir.
Orenthal James Simpson. Is it James? Right? Orenthal James Simpson.
Is it James? I'm gonna call him Juice.
I don't want to get that wrong. Let me look again. Yes, he is.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Orenthal
Orenthal James Simpson.
There we go.
A long life from 1947 to 2024.
But too long if you ask the white folk.
Too long if you ask the certain kind of people. So we're going to briefly touch on his life. We're going to touch on his career, and then we are going to touch on the black stain, the elephant in the room that leaves a lot of people conflicted upon his death. It's funny, though, there's other black stains that I didn't remember, or I guess chose to forget, as far as like him being asked about his race and him saying that he's not black. He's old.
Yeah, he ain't one of us.
According to him,
we embrace all.
He was not one of us. And it was funny because yesterday I'm outside and I see somebody and they're like, yeah, I don't really care. And I was surprised, like, oh shit, I thought we was gonna be like, nah, you know what I mean? A hero died. And he was like, nah, he don't fuck with us anyway, so fuck him. I was like, oh shit. He's like, remember when he said he wasn't black? He was OJ? Fuck him. I was like, damn. It's complicated. It's complicated. He got pissed off people on both sides of the fence, depending on who you ask.
Yup.
You know what I mean? So we'll just talk about his highs. 1968 Heisman winner.
Yeah.
Number 1 draft pick by the Buffalo Bills in 1960.
That dude.
You know what I mean? He was that guy.
That dude.
Guy. First man to ever rush for over 2,000 yards in the NFL.
Dude, was that 14 games back then too?
14 games. You know what I mean? I think he went over a G in 7. 6 Pro Bowls, 76 TDs, over 14,000 all-purpose yards.
Things you can't deny. OJ was that dude.
USC, he's that guy. That guy. He just never won the big one, unfortunately, in the NFL, but he was surrounded.
Team sport. That's not a running back stat. It's a quarterback stat.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So there it is. He's a legend. And then I grew up, Hertz commercials, jumping over luggage bags. And I'm like, who is that? And then all my OGs telling me, like, that's the best football player ever. And I'm like, what?
Yep, I had the same face. I caught him late, but I had the same exact face. Because for me, it was Naked Gun, the Naked Gun movies. I'm like, oh, this is funny. It was like, well, he played football. I was like, he played football? Is it, oh, they play football? You know, you get that from the old heads. What do you mean he ain't play football? I was like,
I know. My bad.
And then you get educated on them, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, he's that dude.
Yeah.
That dude. He is the Jordan. He was that posterizing figure on TV, like with the magic smile, and everyone loved him. It was like
everybody loved him.
He's the man.
Like, that dude,
Look him up. You know what I mean? So,
that dude.
You know, that's the ups, the highs.
Yep.
Then June 12th, 1994, in the evening in Brentwood, Los Angeles.
That Bronco.
That's the night of June 12th is when Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson are in that crib, and a person comes in and
that was the night. Okay.
And murders him in Brentwood.
Okay.
That night. And that's when things changed.
Yep.
And me, as a junior in high school on June 17th, 1994, the Bronco chase in the middle of my Knicks in the finals against the Rockets, this motherfucker interrupts my game.
You heard the story behind that, right?
What?
Apparently, he was watching the game, and he wanted to keep watching the game, which is why he was on the chase. That's the story behind that.
Stay word.
He was watching the game.
Get out of here.
He had the game. He was watching the game with us. That was the story. I mean, the story you're calling OJ, you know how OJ is.
I could
But
believe
that was the story.
He was like, I'm gonna take my time because I need to see
Yeah,
what happens.
I know it's gonna happen.
Right.
The rush for.
Meanwhile, though, I'm sitting there like, what? They just blanked the screen off. Then, thankfully, that somebody had the presence of mind to put the chase in the corner.
Picture in picture.
Early TV, and then give you the game. Like, thank God.
But I mean, that just shows you how big OJ was, right? I mean, how many people
can stop?
I mean, politicians inside cut a whole lot of game from a chase.
The finals. Not the finals,
the finals,
the Super Bowl of basketball.
Yeah, the finals. Like it's not too many people that could do stuff like that.
That's a fact. That shows the legend of who he is.
Yep.
As a man and just, I guess, as a polarizing figure, because I do recall him being on like major networks calling football games with like Ahmad Rashad and
he was the face. I mean, he was in all that.
He was that guy, and now he's in a Bronco running. And me, I was, like I said, a junior in high school, just upset. You know what I mean? I ain't like, why?
They saved you from disappointment, man. I don't know why you're upset.
I'm still suffering. But there we are. So now we have the most polarizing case ever.
Yep.
I mean, and listen, I'm a competitor, so I don't really get into like court stuff, especially at that time. But now, as we, we age and we get older, and then they give us like the docu-series and the what is it, Made in America, that ESPN that was really good. And now as an older person, I can appreciate what was going down in that courtroom at the time. And then I start to recollect, like, you know what? I did feel a way. I do remember, like, there's so many people that have stories now that he's passed, remembering them announcing the verdict and where you were. You know what I mean? And I do remember celebrating. Like,
because he's at the end of the day, he's one of us, right? And in that kind of situation, a couple of things, right? I mean, there's a reason why they lost the case, right? Whether he did it or not, that's not the point. And there's a reason why the case was lost, right?
Right.
And for us, it's like, it's a black dude, and these white people, they killed these two white people, and we don't. Every other situation, he's under the jail.
Right.
No matter
every
what.
Other
under
situation.
the jail. Under the jail, no matter what. So collectively, as a people, for right or wrong, we're like, yo, we got off. I never heard. I could be wrong. Older than me, I never heard like, well, he definitely didn't do it. I never heard that.
Right. I never heard that. That's a conversation. No matter where you fall.
Never heard that.
Never heard anyone say without a shadow of a doubt.
No, he definitely do it. I never heard that. Everybody was like, he got off.
He got off. He got away with it. Hey,
he got away with it.
You wasn't there. Do you really know? No, I don't.
No, we don't know. We don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
So that was the feeling, and then everything else that happened afterwards happened.
Right. So I'm gonna dive in for a quick moment on the teams.
Okay.
Got on the prosecution side, Marsha Clark, and then famously late in the I think in the jury selection process, they bring in this black lawyer, Chris Darden, to help them, they feel, prosecute him properly. Like, bring him in. It's going to be cool, and we'll get to his fumble later.
Yeah.
OJ has the all-star teams.
Got the team.
All-star team.
He ready to go. The Jenna all-star team.
Johnny Cochran, Robert Kardashian, Robert Shapiro, Barry Scheck, F. Lee Bailey, and a young Carl Douglas.
Listen, at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you.
Who knows?
Dude went to USC. He was around some people. Like he had the right people to get the right team.
The right elbows.
Rubbing the right elbows. Like being likable is a real thing.
You can't beat the names.
You can't just get people like that.
That's the dream team. You know what I mean? If when you talk about USA basketball, Barkley, Jordan,
nah. That team right there, that's it.
Come on. I've never seen now in the replay a more masterful performance from a group of lawyers. Later on, it comes out that Chris Darden was a trash talker. They said when the cameras went off, he would talk shit to them and be like, yeah, look at his guilty ass. We gonna fry his ass. Da, 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 da. And he'd be going back and forth with Johnny Cochran because they had history. And I'm like, what? So it was
That's
like
fun.
that.
That's the beef we like.
Right. Because
I don't care what the medium is.
Right.
I want that energy.
I want that energy. And the
Yep.
child lawyers are egomaniacs. And
Mhm.
they said Chris Darden wore his ego on his sleeve.
And you gotta be for that kind of job, right? Certain jobs you just need that.
Right.
You need
So
that ego.
I look at the list, and
Mhm.
there's two names that really stand out outside of like the greatness of the Cochran and Kardashian team. And
Okay.
Kardashian, of course, that name goes on in another
Yup.
level of legacy. But Barry Scheck introduced the DNA science collection and the methods and attacked the prosecution through that, the collection methods, which
Yep.
they were very poor on. Cops were putting shoes in their car,
Yep.
touching things with their bare hands,
Yep.
no gloves, crazy. And
Mhm.
F. Lee Bailey, who exposed the racial comments by Detective Mark Furman, and he was the only detective or cop that I ever saw get his credibility destroyed in such a manner where he had to plead the fifth on the stand because he was caught in a lie.
At that time, yep.
At that time, it was like, wow. And then on the back end in LA, I don't know, I don't want to date you, but I don't know how abreast you are the situation of the racial tension of the Rodney beating, right? That we had that.
Yeah.
And then you have Latasha Hollins, a 15-year-old high school girl that was in a store getting some orange juice.
Yep.
And then I won't want to mispronounce this guy's name. Soon Jadu, the owner of that convenience store, sir, she's gonna pay for that juice. Supposedly she says no, but there's money in her hand.
Yep.
He's going to pay for this juice. He grabs her. She shrugs him off, hits him, runs. He goes, desk, grabs a gun, shoots her in the back of the head.
Yep.
And the outcry was he gets sentenced to 10 years. They suspend the sentence. They give him 5 years probation, charge her $500 in restitution and her funeral costs, and 400 hours of community service for shooting a black girl in the head. And then on the wings of all that, and then a grown man, Rodney King, getting beaten to death on live TV, we get OJ. Here's your setting. What do you think happened? It's the perfect storm.
Perfect storm. And that was what, like 90?
94.
With the 94, right? So
the trial is in 95.
Yeah. Trial's in 95, but those events happened with 94, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's the fourth grade, right? But like, you know, you see how these things don't really change much, right? Because we could tell a story about that probably every year, right? But now, and that kind of perfect storm thing that happens. So for me, I look at all that stuff on the back end, because at that age, I was in the fourth grade, I wasn't paying attention to all the news. So like, I know the trial's happening, right? Like in real time, I know there's a trial happening. I know OJ is, you know, at that point. And then as I get older, you hear the back stuff, right? So my lens of looking at it is way different.
Got me feeling.
No, it's how to.
Because I definitely was in high school, and I felt the way. I knew about Latasha Hollins. I knew about Rodney King, and I definitely was like, "Yo, we need to get one." You know what I mean?
And that was the feeling. Yeah. And this is why OJ has that place in like our community. He's the one that got off, you know, regardless of how he felt about us, you know.
Right.
That's what makes him a polarizing figure. You know, and everything he's done since then, you know, hasn't been anything that as a community we would feel upset about.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
he ended up going
it's real
to jail.
easy to forget about the old stuff.
Right. He goes to jail later for, you know, I guess somebody was trying to steal memorabilia, sports memorabilia.
Nah, that was wild. Yeah. That he was they got him in the civic case too. Okay.
So they trump up the charges because they're like, well, we didn't get you for murder, but
we're gonna get you one way.
Usually for this, we'd give you a year or two. We're gonna bump that up.
But listen, man, I'm shocked. That's what I do as a dude. I couldn't imagine being in this country after getting off that. I'm out.
Oh, I'm out.
You're never gonna hear me again.
On the plane to a far remote country without money.
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
My kids can come or they can stay.
Or they could stay.
I want to stay with grandma. But I'm out of here.
Send me a letter. All right, well.
I gotta go.
Can't be here.
Why
but
he stayed?
It's the arrogance of it, right?
Even
the jokes afterwards, you see the interviews, all that stuff.
Think about it. That's a shoulder shrug moment, like, yo.
Arrogance of it. Like, I'm untouchable.
I'm untouchable
do to me. It's gonna do to me.
Too. There's blood in my car, blood in my walkway, and I still got off. What?
Untouchable. What are you gonna do to me?
Here's the question in the room. Do you think he did it?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be more surprised. I'll say it this way. I'd be more surprised if they end up finding a real killer at some point.
Yeah, I would. Yo, that would blow my door.
Like, I would be baffled. That would doors off. If they were like, oh, we according to new evidence, this is actually a killer, and the guy's not named OJ, I'd be shocked.
Yo, I'd be surprised. Here's another strange nugget on Chris Darden from the prosecution.
Yeah.
Later on, he's also representing the man charged with the death of Nipsey Hussle.
Really?
And he left the case because he started getting death threats. So he decided,
you ain't worth the squeeze.
It ain't worth it, bro, because you was already on the hook with the black community for OJ. We wasn't fucking with him at that point.
Ain't no way.
Uncle Tom ass. Now you want to?
He thought there was enough time that.
I said, bro. When they named, I said, wait a minute. Who's on the team?
The internet's free now. You're like, we know that name.
The murder of
no,
dog. You got to get off this case.
Yep, ain't for you. All money ain't good money.
All money ain't good money. I think the Lord talked to him one night and said, you know, Chris, enough is enough.
Slow down, slow down.
You can't do this.
Slow down.
I got you out
once. Got you out once.
I can't do this again, man. You
Not again, man.
You better go in there and tell
you tested me.
Like, yo, what kind of luck is that? Like,
you think this is about?
That's your desk. You're like, yeah, I'll take this. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
You don't want to do that.
No, you won't.
So here's my thought on OJ. And, you know, bless It Is What It Is podcast. Mason Cam.
Yeah.
Treasure Wilson and their stat baby. They bring on OJ to be their football analyst. And it kind of gives a nice ending.
Yeah.
As a totality, to kind of see him as an older man, have a little sense of humor, and kind of return people that don't know anything about him outside of maybe the case to like a grandfather-ish
human being.
A human being. And, you know what I mean? I think it was good that happened. It just stroke of luck, stroke of genius. They said it was.
Yeah, I get this from a human perspective, right? Regardless of how you feel about it, you know, just to kind of normalize what that means, right? Just put him in the concept. He's a person. He can make jokes and all other stuff, regardless how we might feel about him.
Right.
He is funny.
He's funny. He's funny.
He's funny. But I say it's a lot. I really believe it, man. Being likable goes a long way in life.
It does go a long way. Yeah, there's a couple things he said on there that I was like, yo, those are golden. Say, yo, sometimes even light-skinned dudes gotta zip up their nigga suit.
So, like, listen, I don't follow him on Twitter, but I'm very well of his Twitter. He's funny.
He's funny. He's funny.
Fucking funny, man.
He's a funny dude.
You know, but that was a good ending. I guess if for me, that's like my ending, right?
It was a soft landing for him. It was a soft landing. Because there's now a generation of kids and even young adults that just know him as Uncle O from the It Is What It Is podcast, the old guy who used to get on there and tell Mace he can't button his suit. And he's got a firm grasp on the obvious. So for him,
at the end of the day, we always gonna be here for us, no matter what.
Always.
You always come back home.
And the way I look at it is, I'm never gonna say, I know he did it.
Right.
Now there's a stack of evidence that's damn near irrefutable. However,
I wasn't there.
The shadiness of the LA Police Department at that time, full of racists and just liars and cheats and thugs, we'll never know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad. Get mad at them.
They're mad at them. Like, don't be mad at them. Get mad at them. Because if they wasn't doing the bullshit they was doing to us as a race, how do you let somebody shoot a 15-year-old child in the back of the head over $1.75 orange juice and give him 5 years probation?
But unfortunately, it's not new and it's repetitive and it happens, man. Like even I wasn't there to experience it.
Right.
I can still experience it. It still happens.
Still happens. It still happens.
You know, so like I might not have experienced that, but you experience all these other Rob Martin, dude. Like all these things are the same type of stuff that happens all the time where the person seemingly gets off.
Right. Right.
You know, so
it's a complicated. So for me, like I said, I wasn't there that night. I was far away. Rooting for the Knicks.
Caleb was way down.
Yeah.
Wait out for that.
You know, listen, I understand that 2 people died. And definitely, you know, condolences to those families. Because it's not really about like, oh yeah, the white people, they need to die.
No.
2 people died.
Yeah, people died. Like that's not like, and you know, and that's to your point, that happened. 2 people were murdered, right? Like regardless of race, 2 people were murdered, right? So there's nothing to make light of that. And even when we talk about this, it's not to make light of that situation.
Right.
It's to really be like, because this system, this LAPD system was doing these things to us because of that corruption. A potential suspected killer got off.
Right.
You know, because he had the money for lawyers. You know, and that's funny because that's just how we feel, right? When you see all these privileged people got the money for lawyers,
never have the money to afford the people to get us off.
It doesn't feel good.
Right. It don't feel good. Right. What they say when the rabbit got the gun, it don't feel good.
Don't feel good. You know,
so it's never about the celebration of the lives lost.
Nah.
You know, never get that misconstrued. To die in such a manner is horrible. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And definitely there should be justice served.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, if he didn't do it, they find the killer. If he is the killer, I guess there's your justice. You know what I mean?
There's your justice.
So what is
it? They did some things at the end.
Yeah. Now they definitely they did some things. They got him a little bit.
They got him a little bit.
So what is OJ to you? Who is he? Who is OJ to you? What's his legacy?
For me personally, and even indifference is not the right word, right? Because he's not revolutionary. You know what I mean? He's the entertainment dude. He's not Jim Brown, right? He's an entertainment dude, right? So good at sports. I liked him in movies. He had that thing happen with the court case that was polarizing. Outside of that, for me, for OJ, that's my extent on it. You know, I don't. He's OJ. He's OJ. He's a character, you know, for me. I don't think it moves past that.
Yeah, like he is a man to me that was a great football player. And I think that sometimes you got to be able to throw out the bathwater and keep the baby, I guess they say, so to speak. It's almost like when they're like, you take Reggie Bush's Heisman. Why? He earned that. You know,
he earned the Heisman.
He earned it. So he is a legend on the football field. Outside of the football field, that's where the conversation gets a little tricky.
And then, you know, it just goes back to like, you know, everybody's not all one thing. You have to take the goods and let it rock. Right. You know, take the stuff you can learn and just keep it at that. Everybody's not gonna be perfect.
Right.
You can't put people on pedestals, period.
Right. The unfortunate part is the other side of this coin is murder. That's the trickiest part of it all. That on the other side of his coin is, but he killed 2 people.
Kill 2 people.
Depending on what you believe or what you choose to do. Because unless somebody's going to tell me, and here's what I will say, and then we're going to end it here, but just seeing him on that podcast before his death over the weeks and months of the NFL season on It Is What It Is, you started to understand his sense of humor and how slick he was. And I've always wondered, maybe there's a letter somewhere, buried somewhere. And when he's gone, he's going to have instructions to open it. And that's where the truth is.
Let's say, fuck these black people.
Yeah, fuck y'all. I still ain't a nigga.
I still don't fuck with y'all.
I still don't mess with y'all. But I do believe somewhere there is a letter, and we're going to know. We're going to know.
Yep.
That.
That's always best case scenario out of this, right? Get his version of the truth that he doesn't have to worry about consequences of.
Though he wrote a book where it said, I didn't do it, but if I did.
Of course, he was trying to tell some shit.
So there it is. That's his legacy. It's complicated. Rest in peace, OJ Simpson, and all those that were that he was allegedly accused of murdering.
Allegedly.
You know what I mean? That's it, brother. Thank you for coming on.
All right, thank you for having me. Absolutely. Man.
And it's complicated, as they would say.
Sir. Yes, sir.
UCB logging off. Thanks for joining. Everybody have a great weekend.